Hi everyone, welcome to talkSIGNUP. Today I had an idea where I was gonna play you all a song about virtual races. And then I asked around the office to see if anyone had any good ideas, and they did. So fortunately for your ears, you don't have to hear this. Instead, we're gonna talk about advice for first-time virtual race and challenge directors. So stay tuned.
The running community is made up of tens of thousands of these micro communities. And all these micro communities interact. And so we thought there were opportunities in this market to build some cool technology.
So we had our fall Cram session a couple weeks ago. You can view videos from that on our YouTube page, youtube.com/RunSignup. While you're there, be sure to subscribe and click the bell to receive notifications. That way you're always in the loop. Now, as part of the fall Cram session, RunSignup's Chris McDonald hosted Races Are Happening.
My name is Chris McDonald with RunSignup, and I've got with me Megan Silva Schultz, who's going to be specifically talking about challenges, and then Jonathan Farrell, who will be discussing the Women's Distance Festival.
You can watch that full Cram session video if you would like, but for this video I just want to focus on some advice that they gave and things that they said that can be useful for first-time virtual race and challenge directors. And the first bit of advice today is to utilize groups and teams to help market your race and motivate participants.
Megan, you want to discuss the Great American 5000?
Basically, it's a virtual challenge, team-oriented, running from San Francisco to New York. You could have teams of 12 or 24. You would, as an individual, go out, run or walk, log your miles then via RunSignup, and then those miles would collectively move your team's dot across the map. And so you were racing across the country virtually. Going the team route for the virtual challenge was interesting because it gave us some built-in kind of recruiters, if you will. You had a team captain that was out recruiting 11 other people to be on their team, or in some cases 23 other people. And so that was a nice kind of built-in recruiter for us. But what we found was that team piece of it really drove a ton of accountability and a ton of connection.
So in RunSignup, you can enable our groups and teams feature and allow participants to create their own groups. You can do this from the dashboard, just use the search there to find groups, or find it manually through the Participants tab. But it's very simple, you just set up some group types. You can set up one for 12-person teams, 24-person teams, family teams, school teams, whatever type of team you want. And then when participants register, they can create teams of that type. They can name it whatever they want, and they can do this during the registration process or even after the registration process. In our virtual challenge feature, which Matt Sinclair has done a crash course on, you can upload a map so that the team can track their progress, and milestones can also be set up so that the team can unlock special badges along the way. And actually, Megan talks a bit about milestones in her race, the Great American 5000.
Basically, as everyone entered a new state as they traveled across the country, they were getting a welcome to email, and that email would then outline some quick facts about that state. It'd give you the temperature, some cool attractions that you could have seen along the route. It was just high engagement. So we sent out 12 of these throughout the course of people's journey across America. And so that creation of content is a challenge. But again, in the end, it's a huge opportunity. You can really see where sponsors can be a part of those. And it's one of the things that the participants enjoyed the most, because it wasn't like they were just running and logging miles. We were very highly engaged with them. So that was a cool opportunity for us in the end too.
If you'd like to learn more about group setup on RunSignup, you can always go to these pages and click the help button in the corner. That'll bring you to the help page that's specific to the feature you're on. And if you still have questions, you can email us 7 days a week at info@runsignup.com. But having events that are specific to groups and teams can be a real help to the race, because if someone's signing up for a group event and it's just one person and they need 4 people in the group, then they're going to go look for 3 friends to sign up for your race. So as far as marketing goes, that's good for your race. As for the participants in the group event, it's also helpful for them as far as motivation goes, because with virtual races, you're kind of doing this wherever, so they might not see their other group members, but they know these other people are depending on them to actually get out and do the virtual race. So groups can give people a bit more of an incentive to actually go out and run or do whatever the challenge is. Next up, Megan and Jonathan had some advice on budgeting and package shipping.
Great American 5000, I'll tell folks, we ended up with 45, or just under 4,600 total participants. Going into the event, we were We were fairly conservative. I think our initial kind of budget featured 2,000 total participants. We didn't know what to expect. It was certainly our first time kind of giving the virtual challenge world a run for it. In terms of ordering, we again were really conservative. We decided that we were going to be upfront with participants that they weren't going to receive their stuff until registration closed. We didn't want to take the risk of ordering and then having to reorder, and so we just managed expectations up front in terms of when folks would receive stuff. I will say moving forward, we just launched another virtual challenge yesterday called Great European 2500. So similar concept, just to run across Europe. And we'll be a lot more aggressive with our ordering. That was one area where we thought we definitely know we can improve just because we need to get people their stuff sooner. The ordering thing was interesting. We even learned, we launched an event called the Firecracker 4 Miler, which was a July 4th event. And that one, we managed expectations with the ordering by saying, if you register by X date, you'll receive your stuff before July 4th. So just right away, the ordering piece of it definitely was a challenge because that is where your expense is in the swag. We definitely learned a variety of ways to kind of help manage that a little bit better. With Great American, we did make sure to call it finisher items. So it allowed us to kind of spread out our mailings. Now as teams finish, we will just be mailing things out. It has been a learning process for sure. The fulfillment side, just doing that quicker is one place we know we can improve and plan on improving. You know, we were updating projections throughout the whole thing. You know, we hit 2,000 and it was like, this is going really well. We don't have trends, but we know over the last 2 weeks. And even on the marketing side, I would say we were conservative to spend money. We really relied on ambassadors for us, so some influencers to help get the word out. And again, I go back to the team concept. That team concept really helped drive registrations, in our opinion. There was, again, built-in people that were recruiting for us, so that was really helpful as well.
So it sounds like staying cautious was the name of the game for the new venture.
For us at that time specifically, for sure, we were definitely cautious at that time, and we'll remain cautious. But I think, you know, we have at least now some background when it comes to that ordering piece. So
Jonathan, you probably fall into the category that more people are in, specifically because this was an in-person event. It went to a virtual event. So in terms of budgeting and projections, how did you guys manage that side?
One of the first big things with budgeting is we lost expenses, right? Things we didn't have to do. We didn't have the timers, we didn't have mats, we didn't have a lot of, the water. So we tried to roll some of that into additional swag and incentives for people to come out and do the virtual race. Those costs were pretty offset, so there's still less money to get the additional stuff than all of the stuff we would have paid for an in-person event.
That's awesome.
That was a record year for us. That was the most registrants we ever had, so we did good.
Excellent.
So Jonathan's race, the Women's Distance Festival, actually broke their record for their most registrants, even though they had to go virtual this year, which leads us to the next bit of advice, which is to go virtual and continue virtual. Now for Jonathan's race and races like his, they've gone virtual this year, but hopefully they'll be back to regular races next year. This advice doesn't mean just stay only virtual, but as things get back to normal, don't just drop the virtual aspect of your race, because that part could be bringing in registrants that your race wouldn't have seen otherwise. And we'll listen to Megan talk more about that.
We are definitely planning to continue a couple of our virtual events, specifically the Great American 5000. So we've actually got the 2021 in our this fiscal year's budget. So that'll be an event that we definitely plan to continue. We had almost 67% of our registrants were new to our database for Great American 5000. So that is a huge, that just shows us just the amount of opportunity that virtual challenges present. And when you're not in person, you're not limited then obviously to the location.
As Megan said, we definitely saw a big increase also in new runners this year. I think we had 19 different states that runners came from, and we actually had some Canadians also, which is just great to see from a local 5K.
I know I was blown away by that number being so high. That's definitely a reason alone to continue that event, to grow our database and introduce more folks to all the great things we have going on, in addition to it generating revenue.
All right, so next Jonathan talks about the biggest hurdle that he saw in directing a virtual race, and both he and Megan talk about the importance of anticipating questions.
I think the biggest challenge was that things were different and people didn't know what to do or where to go. And, runners are very, muscle memory. They show up race morning, they know where to go. They know there's packet pickup. I get my bib. There's the porta potty. I wait over here. I stretch. I do the national anthem. I go to the start line. The gun goes off and I run. And I know I'm guilty of it. When I go to a race, it's like you don't even think. You just you go through the motions. You've done it so many times. So what we kind of dealt with was, imagine having a 1,200 person event and it's everyone's first 5K. So it's kind of, where do I go? What do I do? But it was all virtual. So it was a lot of questions. And I think that's the biggest thing I could tell people is if you're switching to virtual and it's your first time, have support crew just to be there to answer emails. As good as you think you have things outlined on the website, as many emails as you sent saying this is what you have to do, this is where you have to go, people are going to call you, they're going to email you. I can't tell you how many questions we had of people like, where do I see the results? And it's as simple as saying, you go to the website and click results, and why didn't I think of it? It's like these people aren't used to it, so everything just seems different and foreign. And the nice thing is next year, I know we're planning to continue having a virtual event, even if we can have the in-person event again. But people are trained now, and it's the more people that know, now there's a new muscle memory, so they'll know how to do it next year. But yeah, that was definitely our biggest challenge, is just getting people to learn the new process.
I can certainly echo on just the email front with the virtual challenges, the customer service aspect for a challenge, which it's running from June 14th to September 14th, and there are people kind of active with this challenge every day. I'd say the emails certainly have subsided, but there was just a longer window of customer service related emails, just because, again, people were interacting with us daily for a few weeks.
One great thing that we've been doing, again, just another great way to support your local running community and keeping everything going, is we've reached out to our timer, just the timer that does all of the races in the area that we've known for decades, and they're coming on to help us as support because they can't, for the virtual races we're having now, they can't be their race day, so they're losing that revenue, they're losing that day, so we're hiring them to just help us with support, so that way we're helping them, they're helping us, and we're keeping that relationship alive, and it's a win-win for everyone.
So that's a cool idea. You can help out your timers if they're not timing in-person races right now. Bring them on for your support team. That's very creative, which actually leads us into the last item on today's list. Get creative.
Megan, any parting words for people looking to start their own virtual challenges?
I think that no idea is too crazy. I think about where the Great American came from. It was in a 4-hour kind of staff brainstorm session. And honestly, it was one that we pursued later. In fact, we announced it way later than we probably would have liked. Working with RunSignup and just the tools that you guys are putting out there, it's definitely making the challenges a lot more engaging, and that's been really great. I find that this stat so staggering that we had 67% new people to our database. So the virtual space certainly breaks down that barrier of location. That for me has been a big takeaway, and so I definitely would like to share that again. So
awesome. Jonathan, anything about going from a real race to virtual?
Yeah, I think I'd just say in general, as we were saying before, that runners on race day kind of go into zombie mode and just do what they're used to doing. I think we all do the same. So this is it's a tough time right now and things are completely different, but it's a great opportunity to just get creative and look at things completely differently. Just think outside the box, talk to people. I think that's the biggest thing, whether it's your local businesses, your local charities, your local government, or folks like us, other runners around the country that are doing this sort of thing. Just talk to people and see what's going on, see what they're doing, and pull as many ideas as you can. All you need is one aha moment, and that could change everything.
Okay, so that was advice for first-time virtual race and challenge directors. Thank you to Megan Silva Schultz and Jonathan Farrell for sharing their experiences and advice. Again, you can watch that full Cram session video on our YouTube page. Remember to subscribe and turn on notifications. That way you know when we post videos like this. If you found the advice in this video useful, please click the like button. Thank you all for watching talkSIGNUP, and have a great race. Now, is there time for me to do one song? I take it since we're rolling the end screen now, that's a no. Okay, understood. Feelings are hurt, but whatever.